took him out of the car seat and I laid him on the chair. And I had his diapers right here. And then someone said, "Hola."
No one said any of that. Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with a line habit. Hola. Bye. Bye. Let's get straight to this intro. Welcome back to the channel. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that I stay kicking. I appreciate the support, man. I'm very humbled because of it. Now, Richueka Haro, right? Willie Lumpbutt is going to court tomorrow for her felony conference hearing. Yes, we remember what happened at Jake Haro, her estranged husband's last felony conference hearing, right? He admitted guilt. He signed the deal. He went and picked up that little 31 years to life and sat his ass down and has subsequently been sitting down in Salinas Valley Prison, probably one of the most harsh, worst prisons in the state of California for a while now. So bye-bye, Jake. You get what you deserve, not even for baby Emmanuel, but even more so for baby Promise, because guess what? She deserves her just due. So bye-bye, right? Now it's Rebecca's turn. Tomorrow she will be in court and she will be given due process. She will be given a chance to elaborate on her story, whether she's going to double down, triple down, or how many downs it takes to say she is innocent. She's probably going to say she was manipulated, that Jake was twisting her wrist, that he was doing the Wes Watson, right? She's going to have a lot to say. Or is she going to surprise everyone like Jake did and finally admit guilt? Are we finally going to get the truth? Can tomorrow be the day that we find out what happened to baby Emmanuel? Now, for those that follow the story, have been following the story, we all know by this time it's several months later, baby Emmanuel is gone. Okay? Those that are truly believing that he still might be out there somewhere, I'm here to tell you he's not, right? I don't think we're ever going to recover him. I don't think he's ever going to be found. I don't think, his body exists anymore, unfortunately. And it's a harsh and a bad thing to say that a kid was left alone and is no longer on this earth. But I believe we have to just be realistic here in this situation and have an understanding and know that he's gone. So now the only thing that's there left is the story. Is Rebecca going to finally step up with one of her last chances and just tell us what happened? Or is her dumb fat ass going to go all the way to trial and try to paint a picture and a narrative of being an abused woman, even if she was an abused woman? And I'm not going to say Jake doesn't look like the type of dude that'll put a chokehold on her, right? Because I'm sure she went through some bullshit. But at the end of the day, that story she told came out of her dick suckers. It didn't come out of Jake's. Oh, he said the diaper, the whoa, right? He had his little story to tell too, right? But she's the one that actually put out that fraudulent fake ass story. Whether it was scripted and Jake's the one who told her to say it, she didn't have to say it. As a mother, as a father, as a parent, you are on earth solely to protect your children, to build a legacy, to take care of them, to feed them, to clothe them, to get up off your dumb ass and walk them to the bus stop to pick them up from school. Hey, kids, that's what matters. Not the fucking bullshit of kicking it at night, smoking the pipe, watching Netflix and chilling. Hey, you get to do all that fun shit before you have kids. Once you have kids, your life is over because your life has now become dedicated to them. And what do you get in return? The drawn card, the little clay thing that you get to put on the refrigerator. And let me tell you, those mean more to you than anything in life. They should, right? And if you're a good parent and you raise your children the right way, you get you get to watch them graduate. You get to watch them walk down the aisle with someone that they love. You get to watch them being taken care of by someone who's responsible. You get to enjoy life and make memories with your children, and that's all you get. If you're lucky enough to have a kid that gets money, right, then you might be taken care of whenever you're old and can't wipe your ass. You wipe theirs for however many years, and now they'll wipe yours, right? And that's the grand prize. That's what you get. But Rebecca wasn't interested in that or a grand prize. She was more so interested in that man and Netflix and chilling and smoking the pipa. And so they got her son that came out of her body out of the way so they can continue their life without any hindrance to it. Like a baby's crying or a baby's having to be fed is that much of a hindrance. What horrible monsters Rebecca and Jake Haro were, right? We already knew Jake was a Haro based upon the case factors and what he did to his own flesh and blood daughter, right? But now we have him having a son with this woman, and they're both deranged, lunatics, psychopaths. To do that to a baby, to harm a child, period, you are not normal. You are inhuman. And that's exactly what they are. Jake has got the severe repercussions for his actions, and he's sitting down, and he's actually in a prison where he could be touched on numerous times, right? We're yet to see if Jake survives the next 5 years in the harsh realities of prison, right? But Rebecca is going to try to escape. She's going to try to escape the realities of what she done. She's going to try to play the blame game. So I believe tomorrow when she goes to court for her felony conference hearing, this is going to be the first step in what I've always believed, the blame game. This is where she's finally going to, because a time heals all wounds, and distance from a loved one, man, makes you kind of forget you and get you in the boo-boo, right? Makes you kind of forget, what you were going through, or that love that was after the love has gone, right? It's gone. Jake has moved on. There's nothing he could do from Rebecca. And I think Rebecca's lawyer, her team of lawyers, and herself are sitting down, putting a story together. Know what a story to tell. Imagine the lawyer of Rebecca having to regurgitate and repeat the lies and frivolous bullshit of a woman who's a monster because he wants a notch on his belt and to win a case. I don't believe Rebecca's going to escape this case. I believe ultimately she's going to be found guilty because she's just that dumb and not a good actress enough to lie on the stand. But there is that possibility and that chance. And I don't want to break anyone's heart by telling the truth and the facts here. The facts are Rebecca did falsify information to the police. How do we know that? Because Jake already said he's guilty. So obviously that story that they made up, that Ola, there never was no Ola, there never was no paisa that knocked her out while she was changing a diaper. There never was no fucking diaper. There was nothing. What there was a fat fucking greasy lumpy butt bitch telling a story to the authorities and to the news people about a son that had already been killed by her and her fucking husband. If that's what you can call them, right? I don't even call them husband and wife. I call them stupid, right? I don't know. But tomorrow, the law is the law. The rule of law is she will be given the felony conference hearing. And this is just a hearing, and it's going to be pretty fast, I'm sure, unless she just breaks down and tells us what she should tell us, where baby Manuel was placed, what actually happened, and the reasoning behind it, even though there's no reason in the world that defies gravity of fucking killing a child, right? There's no reasoning. You can't say, well, he cried too much. I don't care. You can't say, oh, well, I wasn't ready for child. No, bitch, you already have a lot of kids and they're not with you. Huh? We know why, right? There's no excuses here. We don't accept excuses, especially when it comes to a baby. But what we will accept is the truth. We will have to accept the truth. And I think for baby Manuel, for the family, for us that have been paying attention and monitoring this catastrophe since it began, we deserve the truth. But is Rebecca's truth going to set her free? Absolutely not. If she tells the truth and breaks it down in layman terms and lets everybody know exactly what happened to baby Emmanuel on that fateful day or night, she's going to do time. But let me explain something to her fat ass. You ain't going to get away with it anyway. So you might as well do the last thing you can do for your child. Maybe the one and only thing you've ever done for your child besides spitting them out of your stomach, right? And that's telling the truth and giving him a chance at, a proper memorial, a proper burial, even if it's an article of clothing that has to be buried, even if it's a grain of salt or a hair follicle, right? Give him that opportunity and that chance, because that baby is out there alone still. Even if his body no longer exists, his soul is out there. I think the people deserve, people that have been supporting this cause, people that have been paying attention to all the videos from all different content creators concerning this situation, they deserve to put this one to bed with the baby getting the due justice. Now, tomorrow, her felony conference hearing might be a continuance. They can continue it like they do so many times over and come up with, oh, the lawyer needs more time or this or that or whatever. These lawyers are good at working the loopholes. Or, like I said, Rebecca could just say, you know what? I'm guilty. I'm tired of being in the county jail. I'm tired of people thinking some type of way about me. Let me just tell you what the fuck me and Jake did, right? But I don't think she's going to do that. Sorry to burst your bubble. I think this chick is going to continue to plead not guilty based upon she honestly believes in her lawyer is feeding her a pile of bullshit and she likes the way it tastes, right? She's going to believe that she has action at beating this case or getting a lot less time because of the man she was with who's already self-admitted that he did this. Now, if she covered for him, which obviously we know she did by falsifying a fake police report, telling that old story that she did, then she automatically becomes an accomplice. See, in the state of California, you don't literally have to smack someone. You could be in the car while your homeboy goes into the store and ends up smacking someone and still get charged because you are an accomplice. Because it is a criminal situation, because a murder occurred or whatever occurred, you were with him. So whether or not you planned this together, they're not going to believe it until you can prove that you didn't, right? And you're going to get charged the same charges. So this man is self-admitted to murder. You have already out there said a story that has been proven fake. He's basically said that story was fake, right? And admitted guilt. So do you think Rebecca just gets a get out of jail free card? No. She continues the narrative of the Ola shit being true. Jake already said it wasn't, bitch. How stupid can some people be, right? Well, stupid is what stupid does. And tomorrow, stupid is going to be in the courthouse. Rebecca Lump, right? Big lumpy butt. And when she goes to court tomorrow, I honestly believe that she's just going to play the game. Her lawyer is going to say she's a beaten, abused, battered woman that has showed no remorse for her child. She has not shed a tear for him. She shed more tears for Jake when he admitted guilt. When she said, my baby, she wasn't talking about Emmanuel. No, she wasn't. She was talking about her baby, Jakey, right? Jakey, the baby snakey. Because she knows what he has coming. Every day she has to sit there and wonder, what he's doing, where he's at. But she's not telling us what her baby's doing or where he's at because she literally knows where he's at. And she needs to continue this beaten and battered syndrome type story that they're going to put on, this charade, this fucking play that they're going to put on so that way she can get less time. She's already going to be convicted guilty of falsifying a police report, which that's a misdemeanor. That holds that's nothing. If I was to go out tomorrow and say, look, tell the cops, hey, look, my chorra it grew overnight and I think someone stretched it out, right? That'd be falsifying a police report. It was always that big. You know what I mean? It's certain things that people say that can, and they'll be like, well, that's a misdemeanor. I'll take it for this, right? And that's that. With Rebecca, she's telling a big lie about her own child. She has showed no emotion. Tomorrow, we're going to see if she shows some emotion. A lot of us that are content creators that have been following the story and putting out quality content on this story are going to be waiting. There's going to be people at the courthouse. No one's going to forget. There has been a lot of people that have fell off of the baby Emmanuel story because time moves on and time heals all wounds. But right here, I'm not healed, motherfuckers. I'm not healed at all. I told you guys I was going to fight for the justice of baby Emmanuel, and I'm doing the best I can with the content I create. That's my way of saying, look, we're going to keep his memory alive, just like baby Gabriel, just like baby Promise, just like baby Brianna, and all these kids that suffer at the hands of their own families, at their own parents. We're going to keep this pushing because if we don't cry out for help, they can't. So baby Emmanuel deserves justice. Will justice be had tomorrow? We never know. I didn't believe that Jake was going to admit guilt. I didn't believe Jake was going to do what he did, but he did it. Whether it was a bad conscience, whether it was a play, a move, maybe he was just tired of, people yelling out of their doors in the county jail what they were going to do to him and felt like maybe if he just gets out of that crazy situation and goes to prison, everything was going to be better. I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. He might be in a yard right now with like-minded individuals and he might not be being touched, but eventually his day will come. Oh, yes, it will. Okay, and Rebecca, she's going to be in the same situation as Pearl Fernandez, sitting there probably in the same exact building, same exact cell as Pearl Fernandez, talking about writing books and making movies. You know, showing no emotion towards their kids, not really caring one way or the other because they think God's creations are nothing. You know, there's people out there that can't even have children, and it's a blessing, you know, to adopt or to even be around a child. And it's unfortunate that's the way the world works, that they can't, and they would be great parents. But you give kids to a fucking chueca over and over and over again who sleeps with numerous men and men she just meets and takes them around her kids, and knowing that they're confirmed beaters of children and still has them and even has children with them. What kind of woman is that? Not a very smart one. I'm not saying all women are like that, because there's a lot that are beautiful, intelligent, independent, and I respect, but not that bitch. That's just what it is. A bitch is a bitch. So if I'm poor or rich, word up. I talk in the exact same pitch. Now the title bitch, it don't apply to all women, but all women got a little bitch in them, especially Rebecca, right? Not only does she have a bitch, she has a Cardi B butt. So we'll leave that on that seat on the concert stage where we found it. Tomorrow she goes to court. Tomorrow we're going to find out one way or the other what's going to happen next in this court case. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys what I believe. I believe it's either going to be continued or she's going to stay saying not guilty. And then we're going to hear the fucking la story, the cry, the wah story of how this man manipulated, abused her, tricked her, made her, forced her, did everything when there was cops right there. She was in interrogation rooms by herself without Jake Haro. She could have easily said, this man said he's going to hurt me, man. I couldn't help my kid. He forced me. And the cops could have handled it from there. But instead, my baby, Jake, right? We already know where her fucking mind was at. It was in the gutter. It was in the pipa. It was on his pipa. That's it. Meanwhile, her son is out there. I implore the people, Rebecca's family, if they watch this video and they get a chance to talk to her before tomorrow, just tell her to tell the truth already. Give Emmanuel that. If she never gave him anything in the world, give him that. You know? But I'm here to tell you guys, in the crazy world we live in with the monsters that are surrounding us, it's not going to happen. So tomorrow she will be having court. I'm sure there will be a lot of content creators that are present in the courthouse, probably on the tira, con permiso on the tira. He's probably going to be present. I'm sure. Shout out to the homegirl Pink Divas World will be present, as well as many others, right? Keeping you guys abreast of what's going to happen. And I can tell you right now what's going to happen. The bitch is going to say, she ain't taking no deal. She ain't doing nothing. If the district attorney offers her a deal, that deal, I'm telling you right now, that deal better include telling the full true story, letting us know exactly where baby Emmanuel's remains are, or where he was buried or thrown or whatever they did, unfortunately, to that baby, right? And that's that. And it shouldn't be anything under 30, 40 years, 25 to life. You know what I mean? But we'll see. That's a wishful thinking. That's more than likely, I'm telling you right now, Rebecca Haro is going to be continued, or she's just going to do that. They'll set a pre-trial date, which won't be too far off. And her lawyer will prepare to take it to trial. Will Jake Haro be called back to testify against his wife? I don't know in the state of California if they could force him to testify against his wife. I don't know if he's willing to even do that, but we'll see. There's going to be a lot of variables here. And eventually, maybe we won't get the whole true story, but a lot of the story will come out in trial, because obviously she's going to have to tell us something if she blames it on Jake, right? If she says Jake forces her and this is her only escape, if she's saying Jake's forced her and he made her do this and he made her say that, then obviously she has to tell the story of what happened that night to baby Emmanuel that paints a bad picture on Jake, right? So we're going to get some type of story, but I doubt we'll get it tomorrow. Anyways, man, for those who are keeping up with it, she does have court tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you the exact moment or time because it always changes. You know, when you go to court, you'll learn that as an ex-convict, convict, whatever, doing time. If they say court's at 8, it's usually at 1. That's just how that goes. You'll sit there in the tank all day on the chain. You'll go on the chain, come to the courthouse, sit there all day on the chain, and they call you when they fucking get to you. That's just how it goes. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. I pray for baby Emmanuel tomorrow, and hopefully, man, we get some clarification and some justice, but I highly doubt it. This video is sponsored by Barrio Liquors out there in Turlock, California. If you're ever in the Central Valley, the Turlock area, the 209, my area, make sure you pull up to Turlock, man, and go get you something cold to drink at the Barrio. Also, by Sticks and Stones Yard Service in Tucson, Arizona, man. Make sure you Google him, get his number, and if you need someone to weed eat, the homie got you, right? But he does much more than that. He's real. Support our small local raza businesses. Bang, bang.